It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups.
Good morning and welcome once again to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. Good morning, Gene. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
And it looks like this is the beginning of a great Memorial weekend.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any special plans?
I do not. Just enjoying my time off.
You are.
That's right. That's my plan.
For my wife and I, we've had child labor with our older, my daughter and her husband. So I guess they're not child.
They're not really children.
But we had their hard laboring helping us get our cabin up and running. So my wife and I are off to the cabin.
That
for the
sounds
weekend.
really
Yeah.
nice.
And we hope you have a great weekend in store, too. It's great that you could take a little time to stop and be a part of our show today. We are broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios. We're brought to you this hour by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. We've got a lot to talk about this hour, so let's not waste any more time and begin with property management in the news. Property management in the news is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, call someone who's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. Give owner Greg Keener a call at 952-894-9748. That's Pest Control Services. Well, our first story is coming from KXAN Channel 13 News in Austin, Texas, and we're entitling it An Anatomy of an Association. We're going to dissect the area of communication and accountability. We've got a story. Go ahead, Bill, with the tape.
KXAN News investigation.
A KXAN investigation tonight confirms Austin police are now looking into financial irregularities at a North Austin condominium.
The focus is on the Homeowners Association at the Sun Chase Condominiums. It's located at 9009 North Plaza in Northeast Austin. KXAN lead investigator Chris Willis is here live tonight with more on this 4-month-long investigation.
Leslie, Robert, we first started looking at this in late January when we were contacted by the homeowners at Sun Chase Condominiums. They were facing a special assessment, meaning in addition to their homeowners' dues, they were told they had to pay several $100s more because the Homeowners Association was out of money. What they were not told is where their money went, how it was spent, and why the HOA suddenly needed more. It looks like the quiet, peaceful living in one Austin condominium complex has been disrupted.
What's past is past. No, it's not. If you don't ask for it, we don't know to give it to you.
These are some of the residents at the Sun Chase condominium complex in North Austin.
We ask questions and we never get answers.
They tell us they want to know where their homeowners' money has gone.
We have not had one audit.
The property manager and the board of directors have not done a complete financial audit since 2006. And so far, they have not provided homeowners copies of statements for the multiple banks that they use.
They will not respond to us. It's like, we need this. We need the audits. Okay, well, it's going to be very expensive to get the audits, so let's get the bank statements. We can't get that.
Karen Nalen has lived at Sun Chase for 31 years. She says the HOA board has been nasty and uncooperative with her. So to find out, we took our cameras to their board meeting as invited guests of several residents. To give you an idea of how much money we're talking about, there are 73 condo units at Sun Chase. The average homeowner pays, give or take, about $230 a month to the Homeowners Association. That's $16,790 a month and $201,480 a year. And since complete financial audits have not been done in the past 5 years, there is more than $1 million of unaudited expenses.
If a homeowner wants to...
Okay, I think that's probably enough, Bill. Thanks. So we have a story. We have a homeowner association in Austin, Texas, probably an average size association, about 79 units, not huge, not really small. The amount of dues that's collected, probably about average. At least it seems
sounds
like
average for Minnesota.
Yeah, it certainly does for what you would expect for a townhome association. The one thing that's not does not seem to be average here is people feeling that there is a board that's communicating to them.
Well, you know what? I think it's pretty common that homeowners feel like the board doesn't communicate well to them. What I think is really unusual about this story is that there's a police investigation going on into fraud, which we rarely hear of that. That
is an interesting aspect. And, I guess the only comment we could really make at this point in time is that the police don't necessarily start an investigation or begin something unless it is a criminal action.
That's right. And this story does not address that issue. It doesn't say what triggered a police investigation. But I think the crux of the story, as you said, is about board communication with its members and accountability, which are two basic things that homeowners associations should be careful of.
Yeah, we hear some of the same, I don't know, would it be called a platitude, from board members, or the same response from homeowners that we hear all the time. People say, well, the board never communicates to us. Well, what does that mean? In some cases, it actually means they're not communicating with us.
That's right.
At other times, we know how often is it the case that you find out when you really press someone that they're just tossing the information away that the association is mailing out to them.
There's that. And I've had people actually tell me that. If I get a letter from your office, I just throw it away. I don't open it. I don't read it. Okay, well, then it's your fault that you're not being communicated with. But also, some people feel the communication is poor if they get no for an answer. People who have made requests that have been turned down will often complain about bad communication.
Yeah, so they're saying what's bad about the communication is you said no.
That's
not
right.
that you communicated.
In this case, though, there's some big money issues, and it seems to me this homeowners association could have avoided a lot of trouble simply by following some basic steps. I
agree. What is one that jumps out to you?
Well, first of all, you should have a regular audit or review of your books, right? From an outside independent auditor.
Yeah, we make a recommendation to our clients, unless their governing documents specifically state as such. I don't know that they would need to necessarily have a full-blown audit done of the books every year. Usually every 2 to 3 years is
a full audit, and then in between a review. What does MKiowa say now? I know that MKiowa was amended a few years ago, and this was one of the issues, wasn't it? I think it's now required by state statute in Minnesota that you have at least a review every year. Does that sound right?
Yes, not necessarily an audit.
That's right.
But I think they still defer to the
governing documents?
The governing documents of that particular association.
Okay.
But the only other reasons that we would recommend someone taking a look at wanting to have an audit even more often than every 2 to 3 years, or as their governing documents prescribe, would be because of a couple of specific events. Number one, if there's been a major change in the board of directors altogether.
And what would constitute a major change?
You'd have a majority of the people are that were on the board were off, and you have all brand new people.
I see. Okay.
So you might want to consider having an audit because it helps give a starting point and some degree of security, because you don't have people now who can refer to what took place in the past.
Sure.
So you have that done while it's still fresh.
Okay.
Number two would be if the association has just gone through spending a large sum of money for a major capital replacement. That would be another reason to have an audit. You're spending, you have an insurance claim, $1 million.
Right.
You want to make sure that that money came in, that money went out, everything was paid for.
That's a good idea.
You'd want to show that. Or if there's a change in management companies, because you have a different
That's the one I
person
was thinking of.
handling the book. So all
That's right.
three of those things.
For one thing, you want the audit to make sure that the previous management company left things as they should be and that the new management company knows what they're starting with.
Yes,
as well.
And,
right?
and in most cases, you're talking about it's not an issue. It just gives everybody that peace of mind.
That's right.
Well, we need to take a break, but when we come back, Tony, let's deal with some of these statements that are made by board members and also by homeowners in this issue of accountability at this Sunchase Condominiums in Austin, Texas. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.